Good day, history enthusiasts. In today's video, we go into the enthralling world of ancient Rome in order to investigate the incredible life and military accomplishments of one of the most important characters in history, Julius Caesar. Come along with me as we piece together the incredible story of Julius Caesar's wars. Julius Caesar was a Roman general, statesman, and dictator who was born in the year 100 BCE. He played a vital part in influencing the overall direction that history took. Caesar's ambition and military brilliance distinguished him as a true legend of antiquity from the time he was a young officer in the military all the way through the end of his reign as dictator of Rome. Caesar's ability to connect with the common people and win their support was a defining characteristic of his reign, and one of the things that made it so remarkable. He was aware of how important it was to keep their favor, and as a result, he enacted a number of populist initiatives that were designed to make the lives of regular residents better. Caesar instituted land reforms with the goal of redistributing land to the underprivileged and giving them an opportunity to support themselves economically. He also passed legislation to reduce debt and relieve lower classes of oppressive taxation, which earned him enormous popularity and support among the common people. Another defining characteristic of Caesar's rule was the emphasis he placed on the construction of public works and the expansion of existing infrastructure. He began major construction projects, such as the reconstruction of public structures, aqueducts, and highways across Rome and the provinces. Among his accomplishments in this field are the construction of the Colosseum and the Pantheon. The results of these efforts not only enhanced the standard of living of Roman citizens, but also displayed the majesty and power of the Roman Empire. Caesar, in addition to instituting several changes within Roman society, also made great strides in the development of Roman law. He worked towards simplifying and codifying the laws in an effort to ensure that they were applied fairly and consistently. The legal reforms that were put into place during his reign laid the groundwork for subsequent advances in Rome's legal system. The establishment of the Julian calendar is likely to be considered one of Julius Caesar's most enduring legacies. During that historical period, the Roman calendar was not only inaccurate, but also out of step with the solar year. Caesar, who was aware of the urgent need for change, collaborated with many experts in the fields of mathematics and astronomy to design a new calendar that more correctly reflected the passage of time. The Julian calendar, with a few minor tweaks here and there, continued to be used for a number of centuries and is the foundation for the calendar that we make use of today. Julius Caesar came to prominence in Rome amid a time of political unrest, which paved the way for his rise to power. He joined forces with Pompey the Great and Marcus Licinius Crassus to form the First Triumvirate, which assisted him in further establishing his authority. Following Crassus's death, tensions between Caesar and Pompey continued to escalate, which eventually resulted in a civil war. Julius Caesar, who was renowned for his military strength and political intelligence, rose to power in Rome at a time when the city was experiencing a great deal of unrest. His rule, which lasted from 49 BCE to 44 BCE, is regarded as a pivotal period in Roman history, because it was at this time that substantial reforms were implemented and power was consolidated. The military campaigns that Caesar led became legendary. He embarked on the Gallic Wars, a series of campaigns in Gaul, what is now known as France and Belgium, where he not only increased Rome's conquests, but also displayed his tactical brilliance. During these wars, he was successful in expanding Rome's territories. His triumph at Alesia in 52 BCE, in which he overcame the Gallic chieftain Vercingetorix, cemented his reputation as a brilliant strategist and tactician in the military. Caesar was greeted as a legendary hero upon his return to Rome after he had successfully subdued Gaul. However, as his power increased, the Senate became increasingly concerned and asked that he disband his forces. Caesar, in an act of defiance, crossed the Rubicon River, which ultimately led to a civil war between Caesar and Pompey and the Senate. A decisive turning point in Roman history was the subsequent civil war that took place between Caesar and Pompey. In the year 48 BCE, during the Battle of Pharsalus, Caesar prevailed over Pompey and emerged victorious. Caesar, having gained control of the Senate, acquired the title of Dictator Perpetuo, which literally translates to dictator in perpetuity. Caesar, during his reign as dictator, instituted a number of notable reforms, such as expanding citizenship to residents of the provinces, launching public works projects, and establishing a brand new calendar known as the Julian calendar. As a result of his administration, Rome became more secure and prosperous, which contributed to his enormous popularity among the Roman people. However, Caesar's ambitions did not end at that point. He then turned his attention to Egypt, where he had a skirmish with Cleopatra, Queen of Egypt, that proved to be a turning point in the fight. Caesar emerged triumphant at the Battle of Alexandria in 48 BCE, which not only solidified his alliance with Cleopatra, but also marked a turning point in his personal life. The battle took place in Alexandria. On the Ides of March, 44 BCE, however, both Caesar's rule and his life were sadly cut short, ending prematurely. Fearing that he might try to establish a monarchy in Rome, a group of conspirators led by Brutus and Cassius decided to assassinate him. Julius Caesar's assassination threw Rome into even greater chaos, but his legacy lived on for centuries after his death. His military exploits resulted in the expansion of Rome's frontiers. His reforms resulted in the reshaping of the empire, and his vision laid the groundwork for the eventual development of the Roman Empire under his adoptive heir, Octavian, who would later be known as Augustus. And there you have it, a story of conquest, ambition, and the legacy of Julius Caesar. The military campaigns and political leadership of Julius Caesar left an everlasting impression on the annals of history. The Roman Empire was reshaped as a result of his conquests and achievements, which also paved the way for subsequent emperors and dynasties. Let's go into more detail about Julius Caesar's battles and how he influenced the outcomes of those battles. Caesar's impact on the ancient world may be seen not only in his conquest of Gaul and his victory in the civil war against Pompey, but also in the other regions he explored and conquered. After Caesar's victory over Pompey, he pursued his adversaries to Egypt, where he became entangled in a power struggle between Cleopatra and her brother, Ptolemy III. Caesar was ultimately victorious in this conflict. Caesar strengthened his grip on Egypt and bolstered his power in the region when he allied himself with Cleopatra. Cleopatra was a powerful ally in the region. Caesar's quest for greatness did not end there. His focus then shifted to the African continent, where he participated in the North African campaign against the last of Pompey's allies. The crushing victory he achieved over them at the Battle of Thapsus in 46 BCE allowed him to extend his sphere of control and solidify his position as the unchallenged leader of Rome. Caesar's next objective was the territory known as Hispania, which is now a part of modern-day Spain. In this region, he confronted a formidable foe in the form of Pompey's sons and their supporters. Caesar emerged victorious from the Battle of Munda in the year 45 BCE, cementing his grip over the Iberian Peninsula and effectively removing any residual opposition to his reign. Munda took place in Spain. Julius Caesar was a superb military leader because, in addition to his ability to win battles, he possessed remarkable political acumen. This was what set him apart from other military leaders. He had a keen appreciation for the significance of garnering the support of both his troops and the general populace, and he utilized creative ways to accomplish this goal. During the course of his rule, Caesar was responsible for implementing a number of political and social reforms that had a permanent effect on Rome. His goals were to fight bribery and inequity, improve the Roman judicial system, and alleviate suffering among the lower classes. The aristocracy fought against his reforms, but in the end, they proved to be important in laying the groundwork for a more equitable and successful society. Beyond his military victories, Julius Caesar's impact spread to a great many other areas. Even in modern times, the effects of his legacy as a statesman, reformer, and visionary leader are still being felt. Even though his life was cut short by an assassin's bullet, the principles he championed and the changes he pushed for became the foundation for the transition of the Roman Empire and the following emergence of its most renowned people. Julius Caesar's reign, however, came to a tragic and unexpected conclusion despite the many accomplishments he had throughout his time in power. Caesar was slain in the Senate on the Ides of March in the year 44 BCE by a group of senators led by Brutus and Cassius, who were afraid of Caesar's growing authority and influence. This occurrence caused shockwaves to go throughout the empire and served as a turning point in the history of Rome. The murder of Julius Caesar threw Rome back into anarchy, which caused more political instability and finally led to the expansion of the Roman Empire under Caesar's adopted heir, Octavian, who was later renamed Augustus. Come back with us the following time as we delve further into the pages of history and unearth more fascinating tales. Continue to discover new things, expand your knowledge, and honor the traditions that have brought us this far. Thanks for watching. If you want to stay up to date, be sure to give the video a like, subscribe to it, and click on the notification bell.